Hello and welcome to another edition of Suspended Fanimation, and this is Futureman, Season 1, Episode 5, Justice Deserts. So I'm your host, Dennis Bethalkis, and if you haven't seen it already, Futureman is on Hulu. It's a Hulu original. It's done by Seth Rogen and his producing partner, Evan Goldman. So try the Hulu subscription for free. I believe it's a 30-day free trial, and you can watch all of season 1, which is up. Plus, you can get ready for season 2, which starts on January 11th. That's what this is all about. So I'm essentially doing all of this. I'm going episode by episode until we actually, come up to season 2, and then I'm going to start doing season 2 as well. So before I get things started here, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the shit out of this episode. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. It's a really good show. It's only half-hour long episodes. They're really easy to get through. It's a great comedy, sci-fi, and then you can come on back and watch the episode here, that I've done. So where we start off with is where we ended in episode 4, where they're in the sewer, Josh, Tiger, and Wolf, and they're discussing what they're going to do next, how they're going to find the biotic that they need to get their time travel device so they can go and get more Cameronium, and because they only have enough for one trip. And they still need to find a way of defeating Cronish and, the biotics themselves. So they're going through all these different ways of, like, maybe can they get everyone in one place and, fill up a room full of water and drown them all, or, gas them all, that kind of thing. And we find out the biotics are very, very hardy. They resist poison. They resist all kinds of different things, gassing as well. So the only way you're going to have to do it is you have to have a poison with an ingestible. And Wolf comes up with, he talks about sewer mushrooms, that sewer mushrooms will make you puke, shit yourself, and have no memory of what happened. And it took him twice to learn that lesson. But they decide that Josh says, oh, well, everyone eats these things called Cronish balls at the holiday party, which is coming up in 2 days. And that's where we can find out who's a biotic and who isn't, because whoever eats these Cronish balls, the tainted ones, if they don't shit themselves and vomit all over the place, then they're biotic. And that's how they can actually find these out. So that's their plan that they're going to do. And Josh actually asked Wolf, do you know how to cook? And he goes, remove the hair, eat the meat. It's like, all right, you're our cook then, is what's going to happen. So Josh brings both Tiger and Wolf over to meet his parents and passes them off as veterans of the Afghanistan war that's going on, and that they've been pretty messed up by the Taliban. That's why they're acting all funny. And he says, just kind of ignore them. Just, roll with it. And, Josh is like, well, he leaves his dad to teach Wolf how to cook. And Tiger is supposed to be his date for the party itself. So he leaves his mom to try and teach Tiger how to act in society, essentially. Yes, are Cronish balls like sweaty balls? Kind of, in a way. But, there's a little bit different, because sweaty balls, you like to put sweaty balls in your mouth, right? So, well, Cronish balls you do too. So, anyway. Thank you, Penn Farm Girl. And thank you to everybody who's in the chat today, too. So, we have Dr. Camillo. Has basically Josh is talking to Cronish about the holiday ball and about the Cronish balls themselves. And Cronish is like, no. The party's been scaled back because Dr. Camillo is pissed off that I gave out the cure to the world. And so now he's scaling everything back. It's no longer an open bar, things like that. The Cronish balls have been nixed or bounced, as he says. So that's what, that's not going to happen. So Josh is now on a mission to find out what the recipe is for the Cronish balls so that they can make them and, of course, taint them with the sewer mushrooms. In the meantime, Jerry, who is the secretary for Camillo and Cronish, said that both Evan, the security guard, and the girl from accounting, I can't remember her name now at the moment, have not shown him. They didn't show up to work at all. They just didn't give any notice. They kind of quit. So Josh knows that they were actually biotics that they killed, and he's going into the records room to find out who else is. He's going to try and find out who else is a biotic by looking at their records. And of course, Jerry catches him and says, "What the hell are you doing in here?" And he goes, I just wanted to send them a thank you note. I wanted to get their address and send them a thank you note." And they end up sitting there and going through everybody's files and just kind of like laughing. He's kind of bonding with Jerry at this point. So Skarsgård, in the meantime, so the next day, we find out Josh comes back and he's actually giving Jerry a gift of headphones to block out Camille's yelling. And Skarsgård's in the building and he's looking for a Josh Pastman. Really bad choice of name on Josh's part. And this is for the whole drug lab explosion that happened and the shootings that happened there as well. We find out that 5 people have been shot and not killed, but shot. And so Jerry helps him hide from Skarsgård. And of course, he ends up hiding in the bin with all the possum parts, if you will, and all the dead possums. When right next to it was a towel, a bin full of towels that he could have hidden in. So it's pretty disgusting. In the meantime, Tiger is getting taught how to walk in high heels, wear makeup, and basically seduce men by wearing a certain dress by Josh's mother. And also, Wolf is getting taught cooking by Josh's dad. And one of the first things that he gets taught is to beat the eggs. And of course, he beats the eggs with his fists. That's how he does that. Not a good student at first. But Tiger comes around and he learns how to cook fairly well. Wolf learns how to cook very well. And I love Tiger's response to Mrs. Futterman. She goes, "What's your fucking end game, Diane?" And Diane tells him, if Joshy can learn to walk in heels, so can you. So she's having a little problem walking in the as she puts it, the very tiny stilts. Yes, they were well beaten. Those eggs were very well beaten. I don't know what you would use them for, but they were very well beaten. So Wolf ends up making the ganache balls with the sewer mushrooms added to them. And Mr. Futterman, as they're bringing them out, says, of course, don't you love it during a live stream when you get a phone call? Yeah. Mr. Futterman says, "These balls are going to kill." And Wolf says, "No, but they're going to make them shit themselves." And Mr. Futterman goes, "Yeah," because he's tasted them and he's like, "Wow, these things are great." He's tasted the ganache, of course, without the sewer mushrooms added to them. But now that the sewer mushrooms have been added, it's a different thing altogether. So Tiger is Josh's date at the party. And she's very awkward, of course, at all of this. And Jerry sees Tiger as Josh's date and kind of just walks right past him, doesn't say anything. And, he goes off to go and talk to Jerry. And he's explaining to Jerry that Tiger is not his girlfriend. It's just somebody he works with. She tries to get him killed all the time, that kind of thing. And Jerry's not having any of it and goes to the bathroom. And of course, he waits for her outside and then explains to her, that he knows a lot about her because of her trash. And it gets a little stocky at this point. And she says, "Okay, I'm going to stop you right there because you are going into the stalker territory. It's getting kind of creepy." She goes, and she kisses him. And she goes, "Just as long as you don't go through my trash ever again." He goes, "Deal. That's fine." And just then, that's when the toast is going to happen. And by the way, I missed one little thing there. Camille had come into the kitchen, seen the Cornish balls, got pissed off and smashed all of them. So Wolf had to go through and remake all the 150 Cornish balls with using the catering staff by, I guess you can say, inspiring them a bit. And then he basically makes them within, I guess, half an hour, something like that, and ends up making an Arctic freeze ray so that he can get the ganache to set properly, because they have to set for 4 hours in the freezer. But of course, he doesn't have that kind of time. So we're having the toast that's going to happen with the Cornish balls. The Cornish balls get passed out. And that's when all hell kind of breaks loose. Everyone, eats into the Cornish balls. and starts puking and shitting themselves. Also, at this point, Skarsgård has entered the party and has found Josh and is talking to him as all this stuff is going down. And as he's walking down the hallway, he picks up a Cornish ball and eats one, and he immediately starts to shit himself and puke as well, leaving Josh with his handcuffs on, running out into the chaos that's ensuing. And we see a couple of people that aren't puking and shitting themselves, which are, of course, biotics at this point. And Tiger and Wolf start taking them out. So they have to remove the brain bombs, because if they don't remove the brain bomb, then basically their heads are going to explode. They're not going to find out where the time travel device is, if you're with me so far. And it's kind of funny. So Josh ends up hiding in a little tiny Santa house, and as Tiger and Wolf are beating the shit out of these guys and killing some of them. And they finally catch one. They've got him wrapped up in lights, and the Christmas lights. And he's, basically says, "Screw you, resistance," and jumps over the railing and kills himself. So they have no biotics left. Then Josh sees somebody getting dragged down the hallway and goes, "Wait, there's one downstairs." And they go down there. Who's left but Jerry? Jerry's a biotic. Yeah, of course. So Tiger starts fighting her, and in the high heels. And Jerry grabs Tiger's bomb removal device, breaks that, and Tiger's getting the best of her at one point and knocks down Jerry, and Jerry reaches into her mouth and activates her brain bomb. And Wolf, of course, has joined this battle as well, but he's gotten knocked down. He's like, "She's activated the brain bomb," and we see Tiger running in slow motion, kicks off her high heels, grabs one, and slams it into the back of Jerry's neck, deactivating the brain bomb from exploding for 28 minutes. So that's pretty much where we left off, is that Jerry is a biotic. They've captured her. They've got 28 minutes to find out where her time travel device is, and everyone's shitting and puking themselves at the party. So another great episode, especially just from the awkwardness of things, and then everyone just the party going to hell in a handbasket too. And I mean, the party was going to hell in a handbasket as it was, but yeah, you can't go any worse than when people start puking and crapping themselves. It's just, that's not a party at that point. So, yeah, sculpted leather art by Viking Bitch. Poor Josh. I loved how they kept that high heel sticking out of her neck. Yeah. And Tiger is such a badass as well. Yes. Who else do we have here? I'm going into the chat. Slurmy Scott says, "Smash. It was an epic scene of destruction. Don't forget the job Wolf did to remake them." Yeah, that job to remake them. And Camille smashing those the Cornish balls. He goes, "That's for my yacht. That's for my fifth life." And he just starts smashing them up, and it's all over his hands, all over the floor. And he just smashes those things to mush at that point. Slurmy Scott says, "I was eating a slice of pizza when they showed the dead possums. Yummy." Yeah, it's and by the way, just so you know, those of us who worked in labs before, you don't pile them in a bin like that. They usually go into a bag that's inside of a bin, so the bag gets sealed up. Just so you know. And it's usually dead mice. That's what I've worked with before. So that's all I'm going to say. In a lab setting, by the way, not on my own. Kato Roan says, "I'm good. Spent an entire..." Oh, okay. You guys are talking about that kind of thing. So yeah, another really good episode. Yes, Pen Farm Girl, the smashed eggs were almost a foreshadowing for the smash balls, but I think it was more just within Wolf's character, where he likes, that's what he does. He smashes things. He is a soldier. He will break things up. And that's what his nature is. He even smashed the bowl that he was supposed to smash him in, and the whisk as well. I am not a mutilated animal expert. I am saying that I have been in labs where animals have been used. That's all I'm going to say. Usually mice. That's all I'm going to say. In the past. Viking Bitch says, oh, that's actually something else there. Sorry. Sculpted Viking Bitch says, Wolf wants to be a chef. Makes sense after eating rats his whole life. Yeah. I mean, after the pickles that he had an epiphany there and knew that he could actually have something better. And he equates cooking with poisons, chemicals, bomb making, all that kind of stuff, where you need to be very, very precise about what you're adding into it. Otherwise, it could kill somebody. Yeah. So that's what he was equating that to. And again, like I said, this is another great episode. If you haven't seen it, go out and get a Hulu. It's a free Hulu account for a month. You can go and watch the entire season. You can watch other stuff as well. Marvel's Runaways on there, which I'm going to complete that series as well. Season 2 is up right now. Plus, there's stuff from Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS, all that kind of stuff is up there as well. Actually, I don't think CBS. CBS has their own network at the moment, our own streaming service. Yes, he did have a pickle epiphany. Try and say that 10 times fast. Pickle epiphany, yeah, see, that's not going to work. And poor Skarsgård, mourning his good partner, Santiago, Jorge Santiago, whose wife, who had belly swollen with child, while he had to tell her about his death. I'm sorry, it just keeps it makes me laugh every time I see it. Yes, you're talking about Wolf as the guy from Preacher, the meat man's assistant, with the S&M wife. Yes, he is pretty damn funny. And Eliza Coupe as Tiger. If you haven't seen it, there's a great series that was on called Happy Endings, about a group of friends in New York, and she was one of them. And let's just say it was an ABC series, and it was kind of funny because at one point she had caught her husband looking at, and her husband was Damon Wayans Jr. Yes. And he had been looking at porn but hadn't erased his history all that well. And he was trying to say, oh yeah, you know what, I typed in something wrong. And she goes, yeah. She goes, I get that too, and I'm looking up black Crocs. And that's the kind of humor that's in that show. So I was really kind of disappointed that was canceled when it was. It was actually pretty funny and had some really good humor to it. So with that said, exactly. With that said, please, if you like what you see, like and subscribe. You can see the little button down there and hit the little bell as well, so you can get notifications when you have new videos from me coming up. You can also see me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter. I also have a website, suspendedfanimation.com. Nothing's up there at the moment. Again, I'm still in the process of building this stuff. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to be doing the Saturday morning blast off, and it's going to be all the genre news that's come out this week, which isn't all that much. So it'll just be, talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. So come on and join me. 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is what I'm shooting for. It shouldn't change, but that should do it. With that said, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you might mistakenly type in black Crocs when you're looking for something else. Good night, everybody, or good day.